All right, welcome everyone to week 4 of Maps Mapping and Geospatial Technology. We are going to be talking about how we experiment with maps. So first, let's dive into non-traditional maps, which are distinguished by their emphasis on aspects beyond simple navigation and geography. They often serve to communicate complex data, subjective experiences, or conceptual ideas, utilizing space as a canvas to explore themes of connectivity, perception, and narrative. The majority of this PowerPoint is going to be images and examples so that you guys can get a better understanding of some of the concepts in this section. So these are psychogeographic maps, which is a mapping concept that emerged from a situationist international movement in the mid 20th century, challenges our traditional understandings of geography and invites us to explore urban landscapes through the lens of emotion and subjective experience. One example is Guy Debord's The Naked City, a map consisting of 19 sections cut out from a traditional map of Paris, rearranged and connected by arrows indicating the flow of derive, an aimless drift through the city, guided by curiosity in the landscape's psychogeographical contours. This and similar maps serve not as guides to physical locations, but as invitations to explore the city in a way that defies commercial logic and conventional navigation, seeking out the atmosphere and emotional resonances that animate urban space. Central to psychogeography is the concept of derive, a technique of rapid passage through varied ambiances. Participants in a derive let themselves be drawn by the attractions of the terrain and the encounters they find there, rather than following a predetermined route. This method encourages a playful and inventive approach to moving through urban spaces, emphasizing the importance of experiencing the city beyond its utility. In this map, The Hidden City, this is from Joshua Siskind. He chose to focus on the issue of homelessness, pinpointing locations where he found it to be most prevalent and using the map techniques to create his map. When walking through the city, people are drawn to many locations. And for himself, these were Westfield, Sydney, and the Queen Victoria Building. These buildings have been designed to draw large crowds of people simply for the purpose of consumerism. As he wandered through the city to these locations, he found that these areas and streets had become home for a large amount of people. Homelessness, which he believed is an issue that is often tried to be kept hidden from the public eye despite so many people being aware of it. People often turn a blind eye when in reality, there are 28,191 homeless people in New South Wales, with 6% of this number sleeping in the streets of the city. Conceptual maps distill complex information into simplified, abstract representations, prioritizing clarity and usability over geographical accuracy. They are designed to communicate specific ideas or functions, in this case, the operation of a subway system, to the user in the most efficient manner possible. So this is the London Underground map, originally designed by Harry Beck in 1931, is a seminal example of conceptual mapping. Beck, an engineering draftsman, approached the map as an electrical circuit diagram, eschewing geographical fidelity for a more intuitive schematic representation. The map's genius lies in its clarity and ease of use, with color-coded lines, uniform station spacing, and clear, simple interchanges. This design has not only become iconic, but has also set the standard for subway maps around the world. Beck's Maps is a masterclass in abstraction, demonstrating how reducing a complex reality to a simple form can enhance functionality. It reflects an understanding that the primary concern for users is not the physical distance between locations, but how to navigate the system itself. In this example, this is a tube map of the London Underground designed by Harry Beck, which represents the subway system using only straight lines and uniform angles, prioritizing clarity and usability over geographical accuracy. Distinguishing features simplifies complex information into abstract forms, emphasizes functionality and user experience over precise representation of space. This is the DC Metro. Similarly, the Washington DC Metro map designed by Lance Wayman is another exemplary case of conceptual mapping. Introduced in the 1970s, Wayman's designs share Beck's commitment to simplicity and user-friendliness, employing color-coded lines against a neutral background to denote different routes. The map elegantly balances the need for geographical reference points, such as the Potomac River, with the streamlined depiction of the metro system. What makes the DC Metro map particularly interesting is its evolution. As the system has expanded, the map has been updated, yet it maintains its original clarity and aesthetic. This demonstrates the flexibility and enduring utility of well-designed conceptual maps, even in the face of changing realities. So now we're moving on to infographics. These maps blend cartographic principles with infographic design to represent data in a visually engaging and accessible way, often highlighting social, economic, or demographic trends. In this example, this is a map illustrating global internet usage patterns or the prevalence of different languages on social media platforms. This specific example is for the best beer in America. For this example, this is for Starbucks and McDonald's and the different types of fries. So coffee and French fries. Maps in board and role-playing games, intricate world maps like Dungeons and Dragons, fictional maps like Risk or Settlers of Catan, basic maps like Candyland or Battleship would all fall into this category. Some design principles are how maps are designed for gameplay mechanics, player immersion, and strategic planning. So this is Battleship in Candyland. For Battleship, it requires players to engage in spatial reasoning and introduces them to the basics of coordinate systems. Players must mentally map their opponent's board using grid coordinates to pinpoint and track their guesses. This exercise not only sharpens their ability to visualize and manipulate spatial information, but also familiarizes them with the concept of coordinates, a critical component of geographic and cartographic literacy. For Candyland, this is even more simple of an example. There's no requirement for the game aside from following the map from start to end. CandyLab introduces young players to the concept of symbolic representations, a fundamental aspect of mapping. The board serves as a simplified map where spaces, colors, and landmarks guide movement. Players learn to associate symbols such as color blocks with actions, such as moving their piece forward, laying the groundwork for understanding more complex symbolic representations found in maps. Furthermore, these games enhance spatial awareness. Children become more attuned to the space around them and their relationship to it. Candyland, with its linear progression, introduces the idea of sequence and order in physical space, while Battleship, with its hidden fleets, encourages an awareness of the unseen, prompting players to infer and imagine the location of objects based on partial information. So moving on from basic maps to some slightly more advanced but still fictional worlds, we have Risk and Settlers of Catan. Both of these maps are considered speculative, or maps that envision future scenarios, alternate realities, or speculative geographies, often used in speculative fiction, scenario planning, or as thought experiments. Cora, you're laying on the keyboard. Risk is a classic strategy board game of diplomacy, conflict. Okay. Risk is a classic strategy board game of diplomacy, conflict, and conquest. The map represents a stylized version of the Earth divided into territories and continents. Players can use the map to plan attacks, defend territories, and shift the balance of power in their favor to dominate the world. Settlers of Catan is a board game that revolves around resource gathering and strategy. The board game is a map composed of hexagonal tiles representing different resource-producing lands. The modular board setup allows for a different map each game, requiring players to adapt their strategy to the changing geography. For RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons, this is an expanded concept into the realm of... For RPGs like Dungeons and Dragons, we can expand this concept to the realm of infinite. The maps used in D&D serve as gateways to expansive worlds filled with sprawling cities, deep dungeons, and uncharted wilderness. These maps do more than facilitate gameplay. They inspire imagination, challenge players to think critically about space and distance, and immerse them in the world where geography and narrative intertwine. RPGs are unparalleled in their ability to teach spatial awareness and geographic skills. Players must navigate complex terrains relying on landmarks, map legends, and compass directions to guide their journey. This active engagement with the world as a navigational tool minors real-world geographic literacy, enhancing players' ability to understand and interpret spatial information. One of the most compelling aspects of RPG mapping is the need to understand scale and distance. Players become adept at estimating distances, both real and imagined, as they plan their movements and strategies. This skill, developed in the context of a game, has real-world applications, from planning a route on a hike to understanding the scale of geographic features on a globe. Through their adventures, players encounter a variety of geographical features: mountains, rivers, forests, and deserts, each with its own set of challenges and opportunities. These encounters not only add depth to the gameplay, but also serve as informal lessons in physical geography, introducing players to the terminology and concepts that define our understanding of the natural world. RPGs also teach route planning and optimization. Players must navigate through the game world, choosing paths that balance safety, speed, and resource efficiency. This process of evaluating options and making strategic decisions is directly applicable to real-life scenarios, from everyday navigation to complex logistical planning. So the next topic is going to be maps for video games. So here we have one of the maps from Super Mario Brothers. This is one of the worlds, where each of the little dots is representing a level or a point of interest on the map that players can navigate to. And then this is SimCity, which was released in 1989, and in case you are not familiar with it, is a groundbreaking city building simulation game that likely created a generation of future city planners and geographers. For many young players, SimCity was their first exposure to urban geography and planning concepts, sparking an interest in the field. SimCity introduces players to the basics of urban planning, including zoning, infrastructure development, and resource management. By simulating the complexities of city management, it offers an accessible way to understand the challenges and considerations involved in planning urban environments. For influencing, there's a heavy influence from this game that teaches systems thinking by requiring players to consider how difficult elements of a city interact with each other. Players must think spatially as they design their cities, considering the placement of roads, buildings, and services to create efficient, functional urban spaces. It has impact on geographers. There's an aspect of SimCity which promotes an understanding of spatial relationships and interconnectedness of urban systems, key components of geographic thought. It encourages a holistic view of geography, emphasizing the importance of considering multiple factors in spatial planning and analysis. And then it has an impact on geographers. The game has inspired some players to explore GIS technology further, leading to careers in geography, urban planning, and related fields where GIS is a critical tool. This can also lead to open world exploration, with the discussion of I'm just going to cut right there. An open world game is a type of video game that allows players to freely explore the game environment, which typically vast and filled with a variety of locations, challenges, and secrets. The map in this context is not just a tool for navigation, but a fundamental element that encourages exploration and discovery. In Breath of the Wild, the map unfolds as you visit and activate towers, revealing topography, but not the specifics of what you'll find in each area. This design choice invites curiosity. The player sees a marker in the horizon, a mountain, or a strange structure and thinks, "What's over there?" This map guides, but it's the player's sense of adventure that leads. In Breath of the Wild, players can place markers in their map to denote places of interest or danger, whereas Skyrim allows for fast travel to previously discovered locations, making the map an active participant in the player's strategy and exploration. Through these maps, players learn to navigate complex spaces, develop spatial awareness, and engage deeply with the game world. As future game designers, geographers, or simply as players, understanding the interplay between maps and exploration can enhance your appreciation of the art and science behind video game development. So, let's take a look at how maps are not just tools for navigation, but fundamental elements that shape the gaming experience. We'll explore two notable examples: the minimap in the Grand Theft Auto series and the dynamic war table in the Dragon Age Inquisition. First, consider the minimap in Grand Theft Auto. or GTA. The GTA series is renowned for its open world design, offering players a vast urban landscape to explore. Here, the minimap isn't just a navigational aid, it's a crucial component of gameplay. It displays the player's immediate surroundings, including roads, allies, enemies, mission objectives, and points of interest. The genius of the minimap lies in its ability to convey a wealth of information at a glance, informing the player's decision in real time. Whether you're evading the police, tracking down a target, or simply exploring the city, the minimap guides your actions, making it an indispensable tool in the chaotic, fast-paced world of GTA. Shifting our focus to a different genre with Dragon Age Inquisition, a role-playing game known for its deep storytelling and complex world. Here, the war table serves as a strategic map of the game's world, allowing players to send agents on missions, gather resources, and influence the political landscape of the game. The war table is dynamic, reflecting the consequences of the player's choices and the progress of their campaign. It's a map that players interact with directly, making strategic decisions that affect the game's story and their power within the game world. This level of integration showcases how maps can be more than passive elements. They can be interactive tools that drive narrative and gameplay. As we analyze these examples, consider how the design and functionality of maps can significantly impact the player's experience. Maps in video games, as we've seen, are powerful tools that shape how we interact with, understand, and navigate virtual worlds. Our exploration will focus on two groundbreaking examples for innovative map designs: the procedurally generated universe of No Man's Sky and the player-created worlds in Minecraft. These examples are not only challenge conventional game design, but also redefine our understanding of maps in digital spaces. Let's begin with No Man's Sky, a game that epitomizes the concept of infinite exploration. Here, the developers have employed procedural generation techniques to create a seemingly boundless universe. This method uses algorithms to automatically generate data, and in the case of No Man's Sky, it crafts planets, ecosystems, and even entire galaxies on the fly. What sets No Man's Sky apart is just the scale of its universe, but the way it fundamentally alters the concept of a map. Traditional maps are static, they represent a fixed space. However, the procedurally generated universe of No Man's Sky ensures that no two players will have the exact same map. Each journey is unique, and the map is a dynamic, ever-evolving entity that responds to the player's discoveries. Now let's consider Minecraft, a game that has become synonymous with creativity and construction. In Minecraft, the world is an open canvas. The players are the cartographers. The game provides tools and blocks, allowing players to build structures, landscapes, and entire worlds from scratch. The mapping approach in Minecraft is unique because it is inherently collaborative and creative. Players not only navigate these maps, but also shape them, sharing their creations with the community. This aspect of player-created maps introduces a new layer of the concept, a new layer to the concept of mapping in games. Maps as expressions of creativity, shared experiences, and collective storytelling. In conclusion, both No Man's Sky and Minecraft challenge traditional notions of mapping by introducing elements of procedural generation and player creativity. In No Man's Sky, the map is a vast procedurally generated universe, offering endless exploration and discovery. In Minecraft, the map is a canvas, inviting players to build, share, and explore their own creations. As we reflect on these examples, consider the implications for future game design. How might other titles leverage procedural generation or player creativity to create new mapping experiences? And what does this mean for our understanding of space, place, and narrative in virtual environments? These unique mapping approaches not only enhance gameplay, but also invite us to rethink the role of maps in digital spaces, opening up new avenues for exploration, creativity, and community building in the gaming world. The use of real-world mapping data, including satellite imagery, in creation of video game environments. This intersection of technology and creativity offers a fascinating glimpse into how we can mirror, interpret, and even enhance our understanding of the real world. Real world mapping data in video games. The integration of real world geographic data into video games is not just about achieving visual realism, it's about grounding gameplay in authentic, relatable spaces. Let's examine some notable examples of how games have utilized satellite imagery and geographic data to shape their virtual worlds. Let's take a look at Microsoft Flight Simulator. First and foremost is the Microsoft Flight Simulator series, particularly its latest integration. This game is a marvel of modern technology, utilizing Bing Maps data and Azure AI to generate incredibly detailed and accurate representations of the Earth. The game features over 37,000 airports, 2 million cities, 1.5 billion buildings, and realistic topography, all derived from satellite imagery and photogrammetry data. This level of detail not only enhances the simulation experience, but also educates the players about geography, aviation, and the complexity of navigating the skies above our planet. In June of 2009, NASA launched Terra, the flagship of NASA's Earth Observing System, which studies a sweeping set of the planet's characteristics. Included in the satellite is the Advanced Spaceborne Thermal Emission and Reflection Radiometer, or ASTER. ASTER is the cooperative effort between NASA and Japan's Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry, with the collaboration of scientific and industry organizations in both countries. The instrument provides the next generation of remote sensing imaging capabilities when compared to the oldest Landsat thematic mapper and the Japan's JERS-1 OPS scanner. One of the goals of the collaboration has been to make ASTER data publicly available, according to Michael Abrams, a science team leader at the Jet Propulsion Laboratory. The ASTER Global Digital Elevation Map is the most complete global topographic dataset freely available to the public. In the 2.5 years since we released it, we have distributed millions of 1x1 degree tiles to users all over the world. One prominent user of ASTER's data is Redwood City, California-based Electronic Arts, or EA Incorporated. Company is one of the largest video game companies in the world, generating nearly $4 billion in revenue a year. In 2009, the company started production on Super Snowcross SSX, the latest in its series of snowboarding games. Todd Batty, producer and creative director of SSX, says that one of the development team's first tasks was to establish a physical environment of the game's virtual world, which meant buildings, mountains, and tracks. The series has always been big, crazy, and over the top. We wanted to deliver a massive amount of content by creating entire landscapes. Rendering a full mountain from scratch is a time-consuming process that can require an army of programmers, artists, and level designers. To streamline the process, the team figured out how to generate mountain terrains algorithmically using an in-house software tool called Mountain Man. While the mountains created in this process were close to what the team wanted, Batty says they still lacked some essential qualities. As we researched the mountains of Earth and compared them to the ones we were building, ours just didn't have the same character, interesting features, or obviously the great history of that famous mountains of the world that the world has. One day, a technical lead on the project called Batty into his office, where he had been experimenting with mountain building. The programmer said he found something really cool online, ASTER's data, which he had downloaded and converted into a format Mountain Man could use. He asked Batty to name the mountain, any mountain on Earth, and within 30 seconds, the two were looking at and manipulating a 3D replication of it. While the data wasn't fine-grained enough to replace EA's existing tools outright, it proved the perfect complement to Mountain Man. That had been the weakest link in the chain, says Batty. When we found that we could start with what was essentially a real mountain and then let Mountain Man and our artist build on top of it, it provided the last piece of the puzzle. The millions of people who have played SSX since its release in early 2012 are experiencing firsthand the benefits of the Aster data infused into EA's product. No previous title in the series included real mountains, but the 2012 game features 28 real-world mountains, each with multiple paths of descent from 9 different ranges, and thanks to the completedness of Aster's data, the background scenery throughout SSX also features accurate renderings of neighboring mountains and terrain. In conclusion, the use of real-world mapping data in video games represents a convergence of gaming technology and geographic information science. It serves multiple purposes, enhancing realism, providing educational content, and creating immersive experiences that deepen our connection to the physical world as technology advances. As technology advances, we can expect to see even more innovative uses of the geographic data in gaming, blurring the lines between virtual exploration and real-world discovery. As we consider these examples, let's reflect on the potential for video games not only entertain but also to inform and educate. The integration of real-world mapping data into gaming opens up new avenues for learning about geography, history, and the environment, making it an exciting area for future development in both fields. I think this is just a blank slide. So now let's talk about being built for the metaverse. Non-traditional maps deviate from conventional cartographic practices in several key ways, focusing more on creative, subjective, or functional representations of space rather than geographic accuracy or scale. Looking at the role of maps in narrative storytelling, particularly in novels and films, our focus will be 2 iconic examples, The Lord of the Rings by J.R.R. Tolkien and Game of Thrones based on the A Song of Ice and Fire series by George R.R. Martin. These maps do more than just orient the reader or viewer, they serve as integral tools for world building and enriching the narrative context. Beginning with Lord of the Rings, Tolkien, a scholar with a deep love for linguistics and mythology, meticulously crafted Middle-earth's geography. The maps included in his work feature the Shire, Mordor, Rivendell, and countless other locations. Do more than delineate geography, they imbue the narrative with a sense of depth and history. Each mountain range, river, and forest is steeped in lore, contributing to the saga's epic scope and the character's epic journey. These maps invite readers into Tolkien's world, allowing them to trace the Fellowship's journey and understand the vastness and diversity of Middle-earth. Turning to Game of Thrones, the maps of Westeros and Essos play a crucial role in understanding the complex political dynamics and the scale of the series' conflicts. The opening credits of the HBO series, which visually navigate through a three-dimensional map, immediately emphasize the importance of geography in the unfolding drama. Locations like Winterfell, King's Landing, and the Wall are not just settings but characters in their own right, each contributing to the story's richness. The maps help viewers and readers grasp the strategic significance of these locations, the natural barriers that influence movements and conflicts, and the cultural differences between the seven kingdoms. In both Lord of the Rings and the Game of Thrones, maps do more than serve a practical function. They are woven into the narrative, shaping the story's progression and the characters' interactions. The journeys undertaken by the characters are pivotal to their development and the plot's advancement, with the geography often acting as both ally and antagonist. Moreover, these maps contribute to the world-building process, making the fictional universes feel lived in and real. They encourage readers and viewers to engage with the narrative on a deeper level, exploring the lore and histories behind each marked location. This engagement deepens the narrative context as the geography becomes a backdrop for the themes of power, conflict, adventure, and discovery that drive these stories. In conclusion, maps in The Lord of the Rings and Game of Thrones exemplify how geography can enrich narrative storytelling. They serve as more than mere guides. They are foundational to the world-building process, enhancing the narrative depth and immersing readers and viewers in complex, vividly realized worlds. As we move forward, consider how maps in other novels and films contribute to their narratives and what this tells us about the relationship between space, place, and story. Interactive maps when it comes to election coverage. First, let's consider the interactive maps used by news websites during election coverage. These maps are dynamic, data-driven visualizations of real-world political landscapes. They allow users to engage with the electoral process in an immediate, visually intuitive manner. By interacting with these maps, users can drill down from national results to specific localities, seeing how different regions and demographics vote. This not only makes complex electoral data accessible, but also personalizes the experience, connecting users with the geographic nuances of political movements and outcomes. What makes these interactive maps particularly interesting is their ability to transform static data into a narrative. As users explore different scenarios, flipping states, or districts, they're essentially navigating through potential futures, understanding the stakes and strategies at play. This narrative dimension transforms the map from a simple informational tool into a storytelling device, engaging users in a deeper exploration of the democratic process. Shifting our focus to Pokemon Go, we encounter a different but equally fascinating integration of real-world and fictional mapping. Pokemon Go uses AR technology to overlay the game's fictional creatures into the real world as viewed through a smartphone's camera. The game's map is a stylized representation of the real world, utilizing GPS data to guide players to specific locations to catch Pokemon, battle in gyms, and collect items at Pokestops. What's remarkable about Pokemon Go is how it encourages physical exploration and interaction with real-world spaces. Parks, monuments, and public artworks become focal points for communal activity, blurring the lines between the game's fictional narrative and real-world geography. This infusion of mapping technologies not only alters our engagement with public spaces, but also layers a narrative of adventure and discovery into the everyday landscape. Both interactive election maps and Pokemon Go represent innovative fusions of real-world and fictional mapping, each serving different purposes but sharing common ground with their ability to engage users in dynamic, narrative-driven explorations of space. While one roots us more deeply in the political and social realities of our world, the other offers an escape, inviting us to reimagine the world around us through the lens of play and fantasy. Moving to the future of mapping in games and media. As we stand on the brink of new technological frontiers, it's a pivotal movement to speculate on the future developments in virtual reality and augmented reality technologies, particularly in the context of immersive mapping experiences. The advancements in these fields promise to revolutionize our interaction with both real and imagined spaces, offering unprecedented opportunities for exploration, education, and entertainment. The evolution of VR and AR technologies. To understand this, let's first consider where VR and AR are headed. The trend is clear. These technologies are becoming more sophisticated, more accessible, and more integrated into our daily lives. VR, with its ability to transport users into fully realized digital worlds, is seeing advancements in haptic feedback systems, allowing users not just to see, but to feel virtual environments. Imagine walking through a digitally reconstructed ancient city and feeling the cobblestones under your feet, or the brush of virtual foliage against your skin. AR, on the other hand, is blending the digital and physical worlds in real time. Future developments are likely to include more seamless integration of digital information into our visual field, perhaps through advanced wearables like smart glasses. These devices could project data, narratives, and virtual objects into our real-world environment, making the overlay more natural and intuitive. With these advancements, the potential for immersive mapping experiences is boundless. VR can transport us to any place on Earth or beyond, reconstructed from satellite imagery, historical data, or imaginative speculation. Students could walk through historical battles as they unfold. Environmental scientists could explore the impacts of climate change in a visceral way. And architects could navigate their designs before a single brick is even laid. Meanwhile, AR can enrich our real-world environment with layers of information and narrative. Imagine touring a city and seeing historical events play out in the streets around you, or hiking in a national park with a virtual guide pointing out floral and fauna historical events, or geological features. These experiences could transform education, tourism, and even daily life, making every journey an opportunity for discovery. As we look to the future, the convergence of AR and VR with mapping technologies holds the promise of a world where the boundaries between the real and the virtual are increasingly blurred. This fusion has the potential to deepen our understanding of the world, enhance our educational experiences, and open new realms of exploration and creativity. Let's embrace these possibilities, mindful of the challenges they present, but optimistic about the potential for these technologies to enrich our perception of the world. The journey ahead in immersive mapping experiences is as vast and uncharted as the territories we'll explore through the lenses of VR and AR. So that just about wraps up the lecture. I'm going to move on to some of the other stuff going on this week. So for starters, your midterm is being assigned this week. It is a midterm paper. Basically just a 3-page MLA format paper. I want you guys to go through and analyze a company's use of mapping technology or geospatial technology. So identify the company you're looking into, what kind of technology the company uses, and how they are using it. And then you guys also need to choose one of the following prompts to go along with it. There are a couple of restrictions, so do go through and look at these when you guys have some time. And then all the way at the bottom is going to be the grading rubric for how this thing is graded. So it'll be worth 200 points, and it's going to be its own category, so it is worth 20% of your grade. So definitely take it seriously. It's going to be due the Friday before your spring break, which is March 7th. There's a specific time on my courses. It'll be due at midnight for you guys, or 11:59, whatever the specific time is. And then to go along with that, there is going to be your first quiz is this week. This is worth 40 points. This will also be on my courses. It is under the assignments tab. And then basically just make a duplicate of this template and then go ahead and fill it out. Hopefully these questions are somewhat simple. You will need access to ArcGIS Pro for the quiz. So make sure you guys are all set up with that. You should be, since you have an assignment due relatively soon from when I'm recording this that uses ArcGIS Pro. Anything that is highlighted, that means that there's extra instructions for that question. So you'll need to upload a photo, upload an image or a photo. So definitely keep an eye on that. You will have less time to finish this. You'll have about a week from when I'm posting it, you'll have 5 days from when I'm posting it. So I was right the first time. Sorry. You will have 7 days to get it done from when it goes live. So it'll be due next Sunday. If you have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me. I'll be available Monday and Friday this week to answer questions for my regular office hours. Aside from that, hope everyone has a good week. Good luck, everyone.